Sabaidi, Nyad Pinong. Oh my God. We got the hot coffee on this Sunday morning. Oh, that's so good. I make it like 0 carb, so it's just coffee, sugar replacer, and the butter and some cocoa. It's really good. Too good. Okay, so let's see. I recorded this next piece, last 2 pieces, with this telephone, with this microphone, which I hope is now working, with the mic turned off. So is the light on the mic? If the mic is turned off, then, yeah, can you see? Yeah, we see a light on. So if the mic is turned off, which it was, and the phone is set to use the mic, it'll actually be a silent Charlie Chaplin film. And that really doesn't work with the Bach, you know what I mean? In this case, there's not so much action. Without the music, there's really not much to these videos. Without the sound, it's kind of pointless. Like life, but full of beauty. So at any rate, as you've now come to understand, we have to play the whole thing again. So where were we? We were on, and this was last night, by the way, 2 a.m., Saturday night. I had had a barbecue, and it's kind of like saying goodbye to this house with just one friend, and it was really nice, but also interesting that I had drank like 3 beers, and I used to really love alcohol all my life. It was a positive thing, more or less, unless I drank too much, and but man, in the last 2 years, I'm 57 now, so starting about 55, I really can't drink alcohol. Like I drink it and it feels great, but then after I get so deeply sort of dehydrated and other problems. So if anyone has any experience with that, let me know. Alcohol just becoming like physically very poisonous. Not when you first drink it, but like as it sits in your body, something must happen. So let's see. Okay, so we have 908, 909 again. So it should be a little bit better, of course, this time. Okay, so 908 is D major. And we'll do this thing with a microphone where I put down the microphone after we have a little more of this delicious hot coffee with butter and cocoa. I have this genetic sort of, they call it a disease, but it's not really a disease. It's a genetic characteristic, let's say, that's called McArdle's disease. And what it means is just that you can't use carbohydrates. So if you have carbohydrates, they actually block your other metabolic systems like fatty acids, and you lose your muscle strength. But the wonderful thing is if you have less than 20 grams of carbohydrates a day, you know, 1 orange is like 100 grams. I mean, if you have really watch your carbohydrates down to almost 0, then you have no symptoms or almost no symptoms. Okay, let's put down the mic. Step back from the stage. Put down the microphone. Let us see your hands. Do not look down. Okay. I got you, bro. I feel you, bro. And now for the fugue. So what we notice about that piece was that it was just one note at a time. The polyphony was one. Polyphony is a wonderful subject because it's the question of how many notes are at the same point in time, which, you could talk about that as a way of talking about music itself, but you could also talk about musical instruments that way. So like there's those synthesizers, that first Moog that was like monophonic. So it was just like one note at a time. And then they had that polyphony subject come up with the synthesizers where you could have more than one note, or so more than one, what do they call those? Those like sound generators. Voice. And they started with samplers, they started calling it voices, right? Back in the 40 years ago. Okay, so let's start to get into this, my brothers and sisters, because I do love you just as much as I love those old samplers, just as much as I love how humanity went through digitization, digital encoding of information, and that's all good. It's nothing new, really, in my mind. So just keep that in mind that, like, digital encoding, there's nothing really new about that. That's just this idea that you're approximating reality, sort of like maybe like quantum physics is the same idea, right? This quantum idea, you're sort of approximating things with this sort of like on off. I'm not a physicist at all. I don't know about quantum physics, but I'm thinking the word quanta, I think, relates to that same idea of encoding information in sort of like ones and zeros like that. But I don't know. I definitely don't know. And you know what else? Let me just tell you something. So a friend said to me the other day, said, Tom, what do you think about that idea that we only use 10% of our brains? And I'm like, God, that is just like got to be the most ignorant thing. I didn't quite say it like that. But my point is that we don't know, about I don't know how the brain works. It's this gray, mushy stuff, and then you have this mind. I am so-and-so, or I feel this way, or all this stuff that I'm saying. And, and from that mind comes these like nervous control things from the brain over these, different muscles and stuff. And it's just like what a white blood cell does. They actually move around and smell like a bacteria. And when they do that, they must also have something that functions just like, or what you would call a brain, and what you would call muscles. Maybe it's a little bit different there, but yeah, the white blood cell, it's got muscles, brain, nervous system. So then you say, well, wait a minute. If the white blood cell has that same brain, what do you know about your brain? What's the difference? Have you seen the brain in there, in a white blood cell? No. Well, it seems like everything has a brain, like a tree has a brain, because it can move its leaves to the sun. How is it doing that? Where's the muscle? Where's the nervous system there? So you say, well, okay, yeah, it has something. Maybe we need to redefine a little bit nervous system because, yeah, you see it everywhere, basically. And you might even see it in other things that aren't supposed to be alive. And now you've really, really opened up the field for what we call in English discernment, Russian pronicательность, in German Einsicht. The idea is just seeing reality as it is, not trying to sort of change it into what you might, your language of it, or whatever. So from there, what I wanted to say is that we don't know what's going on with the brain. What's really happening is what I'm talking about is this really complex stuff. And apparently, then I asked ChatGPT about it, and he was just saying, Scout, I asked him to name himself. So what Scout basically says about that is that, yeah, it's a myth that 10% of the brain, that we use only 10% of the brain. It's a myth, and that apparently in John Hopkins, Barry Gordon, I don't know this guy. I never read his stuff, but I'm just repeating what ChatGPT said. John Hopkins, I don't know, clinic or John Hopkins University, some guy, Barry Gordon, looked and said, yeah, you're using your whole brain. Okay, my friends? So if someone says you're double jointed, also be skeptical about that, about what that even means. that's correct. Okay, let's talk about that. Oh, I see. Now, I was going to say that is parallel fifths. So actually, Bach does write parallel fifths. You know that? I've seen it in several places. I'll try and mention it when they come up just for fun, because if you go to music school, the first thing they'll tell you in harmony class is Bach never wrote parallel fifths because it was sort of against the rules, and that is so incorrect. Bach is an inspiration machine, okay? He's not a sort of a mechanical writer like a lot of other composers are. Okay. So I actually played that wrong because I need to jog the first note over by one, then they're not parallel fifths, then they're sixths. So, okay, let's do it. One more time. Okay. that was 908, D major, two sharps. So now comes this piece, which again, I already played like last night, so it's not totally fresh for me. Maybe you're saying, Tom, why are you playing this a little bit more accurately? You know, it's because I just played it last night. So the brain, again, this wonderful brain that we know almost nothing about, has this bizarre, well, it's like AI, right? It's like it's learning, it's training, okay? Very much like AI. And I think if you want to say the 40,000 foot view on this whole subject of the brain, man, look at this thing like the computer. Look at how we've made our computer, like they say God made man in his own image or something. Look how we made the computer just like us. So like, and it's really all about us, you know, our human experience. Like we don't like to be lonely, right? So that cell phone, right, there it is. That cell phone's just gonna be like ringing and stuff and ding, ding, dinging, and here's your friends and stuff. And then look at like the conflicted human, like, oh, I need my alone time, too much screen time. Oh my God, over here in Austria, they go nuts about this thing about screen time. They don't even know what a computer is. They call it a gadget. It's so sad. That technology, technophobic, that, you know, VCR blinking 12 problem, they really have it so deeply here. And it's just sick because like the government tried to do like, you know, the thing with summons, when you get a lawsuit and you've been served and you have to like really give someone the paper because if they don't show up, they get a summary judgment. Well, there's this like electronic post system here that they did that they totally screwed up. And I registered for it, of course, because I was trying to support them in their really just, how do you say, inept, you know, effort or a sort of like task, I don't know, of becoming digital as a government, you know, over here in Klagenfurt, in southern Austria. And basically, I just didn't look at that inbox for like 60 days. And at that time, I got one of these things, a summons basically, and I didn't see it. And then it was auto-deleted. Can you believe they did that? Oh my God, they auto-deleted my most important mail. It's so sad, you know, as a programmer, the number one thing for me, number one throughout the whole career, I've been a programmer for like 45 years. So ever since I was 15, so a long time. And basically, how many years is that? Hang on a sec. 42 years, right? Because I'm 57. I'm 57 years old. It's so weird to say that. But at any rate, this thing is that the most important thing is that programmers don't lose data. So I don't even want to talk about that anymore because it's so sort of sad. But let's just get into this now. C minor, BWV 909. And this is called Concerto and Fugue in C minor. So this is going to be interesting. You know, you can tell the style of the music is really, honestly, is not meant to be so slow. There's no way, because you can see that you sort of like, it'll sound almost a little bit redundant here and there if I play it really slow like I'm going to play it. But whatever. I know this again because I played this last night. Okay, let's do it again. Put down the mic. Step back from the stage. Let me see your hands. Do not look down. Okay. We got you, Thomas. Chill out, my bro. Okay, C minor. Right. Let's just play the C minor scale. Okay. That's so beautiful. You know that reminds me of that beautiful harmony. Does anyone know that song? That composer Menotti, and he wrote like Carlos Menotti, and he wrote that music called like Amal and the Night Visitors. Do you know that one? It's so beautiful. Oh, da, da, da. Yes, I'm mother. Da. And he's like saying, I will miss you very much. This is when he's going to go off with the kings, right? You know, that's so sad. Makes me cry. Like, he was like going to go off with the kings because they got him his, like, from Jesus, his, like, legs back so he could walk. Yes, I promise. Like his mother saying, wear your hat, stay warm. It's so beautiful. Okay. That's what's so great about this. My God, like Bach, he generated, I think, so much musical energy that just echoes forwards in these other composers. So, okay, so I will go back and play it one more time. What's wrong? What am I doing wrong? Ah, okay, I see what I was doing wrong. The right hand was supposed to be on the bass clef. So let's do that ending again. Totally screwed. You know, isn't that interesting how often I really completely destroy the endings? Because the endings are the most sort of, I don't know, architecturally sort of predictable, or not predictable, but like, I don't know. They just seem to be really beautiful, right, with Bach, and then I screw them up. So let's try it one more time. Okay. All right, that's that. So that brings us up to 909. That's turns to 910. Oh, 910, we have the fugue. Okay, let's play the fugue of that. Just 3 pages. And then we'll take a break. Then we got the toccatas, of course. I was saying take a break. And the thing is, I love to play Bach, so we'll be playing some more. That's right. This is a great piece. This is a lot like that song Nature Child, you know, by Aaron Neville. Let me take off a layer here. Yeah, I actually, played this last night and I was like, wow, I don't even remember ever playing this. Now, of course, I remember playing it last night, but man, this is really, I hope you enjoy this one. It has some very modern, very much like Broadway, New York style theater feeling to it. So let's check it out. Okay, you can now pick up the microphone. So basically, a lot of mistakes, but you know, that's some good music, right? So it's fun to play through it, and that's the point. So what's next are the toccatas. We'll do that a little bit later. Gotta go paint some stuff, paint some wall, ceiling. Yeah, this toccata, right. So actually, I have the commercial toccata, but look, I'm not sure what happened here. I think that I was just working on proofing, you know, this stuff, and I felt like some reason I needed to cut that out and put that over here. I really don't understand why. Apparently, I did it a couple other times too, and I put him back, like this one, where it was cut out, then I put it back twice. So I'm not sure what that was all about, honestly. I've forgotten. But this one never came back. But I did check it, and I have it right here. So I have the same music. It's we have measure numbers, and the measure number 167 is what was cut out. So I went over all this last night, so I'm kind of saying it in short. But basically, yeah, we'll just read it from here, which kind of sucks because it's easier to read over here. Maybe we could read it over here, and then when we get to it, one thing I'll mention that's interesting, you know, we're playing through these pieces by number from 771, the first invention, through 994, the last suite, is what Bach wrote for keyboard. And I wanted to mention that the ordering of the numbers, I'm not sure how. I need to look into it. As I said last night, I need to do it today. But like, what is BWV and where did it come about and why are they in the order they're in the order? Probably doesn't matter. But I think that other than the books, they're probably, and even within other than the WTC books and maybe the inventions, I don't know, that even the order within the books might be somewhat arbitrary. For example, in this toccatas, we're starting with 910 and it goes to 916. So that's actually 7 pieces. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. And the first piece they have in here is 913, then 914, then 910, then 915. So why do they do it like that? I don't, honestly, probably doesn't matter a whole lot. They're the toccatas. Why are they together? Another question. I think it's really hard because Bach wrote these, right, on a keyboard, not a piano, and then he basically, something more like a clavichord, right? And then basically, they don't have a copy machine, so those original texts almost all go. And what ends up remaining are someone's rewriting it by hand. And so with that kind of a hodgepodge situation or system, it makes sense that the orders aren't really that organized really anymore. But we'll play all the toccatas, and we'll start with 9-10. We'll play them in the order that BWV came up with. And I don't even know who that is, but like I said, I'll follow up on that. But 9-10 is, I know from last night, is on page 25. So, we can start with this. It's in F sharp minor. So 3 sharps, and we'll just play through that and enjoy it. Like I said, maybe I'll play through it till here to measure 167 or so, and then measure 163 really. 61, 60, 64 is the first measure that's missing, 164. Play through to here, then boom, pop over to the other one at measure 164, and then pop back. Let's just do that because this is so much easier to read. So 164, and we won't do that right now. We'll just kind of get set up for it because, like I said, I want to do some painting, I like to program the computer. It actually really relaxes me, even though it's like I'm not paid hourly. It's like I'll do that for work. I'll literally sit there. We're doing this continuous integration. I wrote with Scout, the ChatGPT program. With Scout, I wrote this, CI that's amazing. It's like it's automatically, creating candidate branches and then testing them with a really almost 100% Selenium, system test level coverage. And I don't know if all that makes sense. If any of you guys are programmers, please comment. But I'd love to talk about that as well. Maybe that's even more interesting. I don't know. But let's see. 167. In 9-10, yeah. So we'll get it right up to 160. No, we said 163 is, this one here is the first one that's missing. So we'll just come right to there. And then right when we get there, we'll have a few measures. So let's see how that's going to work out. We'll get right to 161 is here, 162, 163. And then, bam, the first missing measure is this one, 164. So I'll let you guys see that. So we're coming through here, and we have measure numbers. And there you go. And so here's 161, 162, 163 has look at this. There's a D sharp, and that's still D sharp. And then in this text here, 163 has, where were we? Has a D natural. Here's 162, 163 has a D natural. And this is where I would go back, online. You can go and look up the sort of like the earliest copy of this piece that was recorded or scanned somewhere in Leipzig probably. There's like a few different places. And you can, see, and was it D sharp or not? And some of them, usually in this case, it's probably, honestly, it's probably a D natural. And let's hear what it sounds like, shall we? That's an interesting idea. Let's hear what it sounds like with D natural. So at the end, so it's this is in the key of A major, or F sharp minor. Now D natural, like that. So we're coming down. Try again. Oops, one more time. Okay, or with the D sharp sticking right here. then the missing measure we'll assume is this one, which was, where were we? Here. So feel free to comment which one you think, if it's the D sharp or the D natural. You know, I just love this music so much that it makes a difference to me. I mean, I like to try to really see what he wanted to do because I like his style so much. So I really just always want to uncover more and more of what he was really feeling or thinking. That's where the D sharp stays there. And then no D sharp, so D natural. Oh, there's some, what else? That B? Was that high B in there? What's this measure? 163? 160, 163. Oh, look at that. That's the other thing is here we go up to the B and here we go down to the B. The B is an octave lower here. Oh man, you know when you get that kind of thing, it's so sort of indeterminate, such a bummer, but okay, wow. So there's two notes. Let me circle those here so I don't have my pencil, but I'll remember that. Oh man. So here, this, like that. And here, so weird. I don't know. But if anyone out there is a Bach scholar, I know there's a YouTube channel called Bach Scholar. So if anyone is out there that's like, has an idea about this measure, we're talking about, again, about toccata, BWV 910. Measure is at 163. The actual measure is 163. Should it be like this Henley, a commercial edition? A Henley Verlag, you know, basically, where last time I played it, it's like, that, or should measure 163 have this high B and then D natural, so it sounds like, it's probably not that big a deal, right? You can see how he's going down. The D natural does create an emotional, you know, gravitational sucking you down, basically, which makes sense the way he's going to the B sharp next. That B sharp is an additional sucking down feeling from the C sharp. So you let me know what you think about that. Okay, that's it for today. Who cares, right? Let's remember, who cares? Everything changes. And we're in the flow of existence, evolution of all things, including the earth and the solar system will change. It will go change its form completely. So that's how we go.